Giant Slayer, Showman, the greatest fighter of the modern era. This man is the best known Nakmui alive today. He frequently competes against opponents several divisions larger than himself, has his own signature move, and draws huge crowds whenever and wherever he competes around the globe. But what makes this tricky southpaw so successful? What are the techniques that make this little man pack such a huge punch? We're taking you through the background and style of the legend, the pound-for-pound king of Muay Thai, Saenchai. Subscribe to Iron Kicks for the best Muay Thai content on YouTube, and let's dive in. Saenchai was born in Mahasarakam province, Thailand, originally with the name Supachai Saipong. It is one of the poorer regions of the country, but as anyone who follows combat sports knows, that's one of the best breeding grounds for competitive fighters. Like so many of his colleagues and rivals in the sport, Saenchai started young. He was only 8 years old when he started and competed after a single week of training. He won the debut and was paid the equivalent of $1 for the fight. He fought several times in that region and no recorded losses can be found in his early days. It's the tradition of Thai fighters to be named after their gym, and having started so early, Saenchai would take on several names throughout his career. At 14, he started fighting in Bangkok and transferred to Kamsing Gym. There, he took on his next name, Saenchai Sor Kamsing, and came under the tutelage of Muay Thai legend Somluck, a legendary fighter in his own right. The step up in competition was a mixed blessing, and while prestige came from fighting in the legendary Lumpini Stadium, it also came with the first challenges of Saenchai's career. Early Saenchai was aggressive and punch-heavy. You can see the lack of maturity in his early bouts. He very much looks like a teenager, keen for the knockout and coming forward recklessly. Without the slick technical skills he was to develop later on, he took his first loss at age 16, and later that year received his first knockout. The lack of skills are more obvious in this knockout loss. It's not that he's explicitly bad in this fight, but his style is just very honest in this match. Saenchai in the modern day is a trickster who uses misdirection to create openings and confuse and antagonize his opponents. Teenage Saenchai had learned little of that. The knockout clearly had an effect on the young fighter. This would be far from the last loss on his record, but incredibly, in the 28 years and more than 300 fights since, Saenchai has never again been stopped. That alone would be enough to put him in history books, but there was much more of note in his career. His style shifted, becoming more mobile and evasive, controlling not only his own movement around the ring, but also that of his opponent. One part you can see very quickly following the KO loss are more kick catches. A staple of his style for years to come, Saenchai can be seen catching many kicks in his first title shot versus Nongsiam Fairtex. Along with this came more pulls and ducks, allowing Saenchai to choose whether to evade, parry, or simply block an incoming strike. The difference in tactics was clearly a huge success, and at just shy of his 17th birthday, he took the 115-pound Lumpini Stadium title. There are two general ways to catch kicks in Muay Thai. One is against the body, moving with the kick to reduce its force, and catching it against the ribs. It's easier to execute but much less effective. Saenchai instead opts for the more technically challenging but more effective cross catch, where the kick is blocked with one forearm, while the other arm reaches under and pulls the kick across the body. This exposes the opponent's back while keeping their foot off the floor, giving you fantastic opportunities to sweep your opponent or to strike the back. This is illegal in most striking styles, but for Muay Thai it shows mastery and control over your opponent. Sweeps, which score high for similar reasons, would become a huge part of his game as well. Frequently kicking their legs out made Saenchai's opponents afraid to kick in the first place, and would leave them paralyzed by the end of their bout. Thai boxing, at least in the modern day, is known for its clinch. Though Saenchai has never made this a substantial part of his game, it's not that he never engages in the grapple. On the contrary, he simply looks to win the exchange quickly and efficiently. Saenchai's clinch work is much faster, either a quick strike or a takedown with the body lock. Combining this with kick catching made for a devastating combo, and one that has him pushing opponents back head first into the canvas, a brutal way to knock someone out. It's flashy, effective, and has the effect of simultaneously making an opponent afraid to attack and dealing a great deal of damage. Thai boxing has evolved a lot over the past few decades. As fighters such as Samart will complain, it has become all about the clinch and less about the art, much due to the influence of gamblers. Saenchai is an interesting anomaly then, because despite most of his bouts coming after this shift, he has kept some of the old style while blending it with the new. Thai boxing has names for all sorts of style of fighter, from the knee-focused Muay Khao to the punch-heavy Muay Mat, but Saenchai exemplifies the most technical, cerebral, and interesting style of all, the Muay Femur. The range of skills would carry Saenchai to greater and greater heights. Over his many years of competing, he has taken belts in many promotions and at many different weights. In the Lumpini Stadium, he won the bantamweight division at 18 years of age and would win belts at 3 other classes. In later years, he would take a title at 154 pounds, a huge 29 pounds over his original belt. But he never did put on the muscle to fight such large opponents, so what accounted for his success? Saenchai would double down on his movements and feints, using them to attack the back of his opponents. Saenchai has an incredibly mobile style, first building off his kicks to make people afraid of being struck, and then feinting and dancing around behind when they lift their leg to check the kick. Being southpaw played into this perfectly. When you're a southpaw, your front foot is opposite your opponent's, and it's just a short step around to get behind them. If you can get your opponents to freeze in place as well, it's a perfect setup. Some strategies were less obvious, more like hypnotism than feinting. Saenchai has a beautiful shuffle, simply staying on the spot, squared up, and dancing his feet forwards and back. By doing so, he doesn't commit to a movement, but draws the opponent's attention and prevents them from settling in and being ready to make an attack. It creates fascinating openings, either freezing his opponent on the spot or causing them to lunge forwards in a much wilder fashion than they should. With his increases in skill, Saenchai has become something of a showman. He works the crowd, asking for cheers after he hits a beautiful attack, and people are more than happy to oblige. If a fighter can manage to coral the elusive Saenchai to the ropes, he will frequently climb them to feint a downward elbow. It's a devastating attack, but one he rarely actually lands. It's for the crowd more than anything, and Saenchai has more than a few times landed a kiss on the other fighter's cheek rather than an elbow to the dome. He's mastered the standard spectacular techniques also, and like many fighters of the highest quality, he will lean back just out of the way of kicks or slip out of the way by mere inches. Between the showboating, the inability to hit him, and the way he moves smoothly around behind his opposition, it's surely as much a psychological battle as a physical one to share the ring with him. He is a master of misdirection, making opponents flinch, defending themselves from an attack that never comes, or becoming mesmerized by his movement while he dances around behind them. He causes frustration, showboating, and encouraging wild attacks forward, which he capitalizes on perfectly. Many fighters draw their opposition onto their strikes, moving back to encourage aggression before delivering the final blow. But nobody does it with quite as much fashion as Saenchai. Muay Thai is not the only sport Saenchai has competed in. Between 2004 and 2006, he competed in 5 boxing matches, even winning a featherweight belt in the process. He would also travel to Japan to fight, but despite his success there, this would lead to friction with Kamsing Gym and cause him to leave, to join Kingstar and take on a new name. In 2023, he fought the legend Boka Benchamek in a bare-knuckle Thai boxing match. Though he lost the bout by decision, it was an incredible fight, and it was such a privilege to see the two legends collide. And if you want to see the fight highlights or the analysis of the fight, we have a video up on the Iron Kicks channel. One of Saenchai's interesting bouts came in 2016, when he had his one fight on Glory Kickboxing. There are some common pitfalls that Thai boxers fall into with Glory, one being their reliance on elbows, and the other on the extended grappling exchanges that are allowed. There were some oddities in the fight, with Saenchai catching kicks out of instinct just to throw them to the ground in an attempt to not be penalized by the ref, but in the end he took the decision victory. Saenchai has never relied too heavily on one weapon with his Muay Femur style, and even with the Thai boxing staples banned, he still had more than enough to win the bout. There's one move that we haven't yet mentioned, one move that could be his signature technique, and one that he is known for more than any other fighter: the cartwheel kick. Half acrobatic move, half martial arts, he will put both hands on the mat to let his heel fly in a crescent and collide with the head of his opponent. Though it more often fails than succeeds, it really can be an effective strike, and with the reaction of the crowd, it can't be described as anything less than spectacular. The funny thing about the cartwheel kick, this move is technically illegal in Muay Thai, as placing your hands on the mat is prohibited. Referees in Thailand are often stricter at enforcing the rules than in other countries. This might be the reason he has chosen to fight less and less in Thailand in recent years. There are other explanations though, and it may also be that he no longer wants to fight his countrymen. A true ambassador of the sport, he has brought it to people all over the planet. Whether he wants freedom to use his favorite techniques, wants to show Muay Thai to more and more people, or simply that after hundreds of fights is looking for a new challenge, Saenchai has gone truly worldwide. But where is he now? Where he's always been, in the ring, still competing and stronger than ever. At 43 years old, Saenchai shows no signs of stopping, and has his greatest winning streak yet with 75 fights. He fights out of his own gym now, giving him his latest name, Saenchai PK Saenchai Muay Thai Gym. Even without his career at a close, he has a Muay Thai record of 318 wins, 41 losses, 6 draws, to make an incredible 365 fights. When you add the bouts and other striking arts to that, it comes to more than 10 fights per year. Thai fighters are known for having many bouts over their careers, but to keep up such a blistering pace is something of a miracle. He's a showman, a technician, one that knows how to work the crowd, and one who will never turn down a fight, no matter the weight class. His status is so legendary that a fighter might be renowned for simply sharing a ring with him. Blending old Muay Thai with new, Saenchai has earned his place in the conversation of the greatest of all time many times over. In all, Saenchai has won titles in no less than 11 Muay Thai organizations, 1 boxing division, and has been given a Fighter of the Year award 3 times over. He truly is one of the most decorated fighters in the world. Thank you for watching, and subscribe to Iron Kicks for more of the best Muay Thai documentaries on YouTube.